harm becomes her. Beginning at 5, she has a small smile and serious eyes. She knows only what she lives through. She has been scarred by the unspeakable. White represents purity, simplicity, and cleanliness. Red implies danger and anger. Presented with white as the predominant color, this gown implies innocence from the beginning. The red bleeding through as the sinister hand climbs over the shoulder speaks to the harm and danger that is beginning to infest her world. Interestingly, red also signifies courage, a sadly necessary undercurrent that will now grow with her. She exists at the edge. She exists somewhere between the edge of death and the edge of life. She longs to feel nothing, to let darkness cradle her and the freedom of a dreamless sleep consume her. The rib cage winding around her waist while hanging from copper cording, choking her, is an overwhelming statement on the desire to die. The form-fitting black gown hugs her, holding on tight to the thought of disappearing. Simultaneously, the sheer cape covers her, adding to the oppression of the gown, while also offering a hazy view of the world she wants to leave behind. The falling girl. She lets go. Suicide is a lonely ghost, desperate to give itself playmates. The cliff edge gets smaller as she drops towards the ocean's surface. Falling offers itself as freedom from the world that has caused her unrelenting pain. The water envelops her, pulling her to the ocean floor. She does not fight. The tears of this ocean blue gown climb from the floor, up her body, slowly submerging her. The ribbons in different hues of blue wind around themselves on each tear, tangling themselves into her wish to let the water pull her beneath its surface. The drowned girl. Beneath the ocean's surface, she floats, weightless. She welcomes the silence that has flooded her ears and sinks into the feeling of nothing. The ocean has shut out the world and holds her in a daydream, where her painful life feels far away. Stuck between fear and fantasy, she waits. Draped in the style of a classical Greek statue, this gown offers a sense of elegance and grace. Appearing delicate, there is a striking contrast between the romantic inference of the gown and the morbid reality of its purpose. Waves of fire. There is no one to pull her out of the water, to reach in, grab her hand, and help her to the surface. She knows she's alone. The thought of rescuing herself is unbearably heavy, but no worse than the realization that no one will save her. Die waiting for someone to save her, or live because she chose to save herself. Infuriated by the necessity to keep herself alive, a pulse of strength sparks inside her, and a momentous surge of fire pushes her to the surface. Protection is no guarantee. Battered by the circumstances of life, she vacillates between longing and indifference. She longs for protection, safety, and love, but knows those things cannot be trusted to last. Instead, she guards herself with a mask of indifference and apathy. She exists in a constant state of ambivalence, running towards protection only to push it away before the possibility of safety will let her down. The unfinished, shredded look of the skirt shows that a storm has been weathered. What survives has been deeply damaged, left worn and weary by constant turmoil. The strands of fabric have been ravaged and offer minimal coverage or protection. In contrast, the winged cap wraps itself around her head, signifying a deep longing and a glimmer of hope that safety and love can exist. What does alive feel like? She feels nothing, but knows she's alive. She exists shrouded in fog, floating outside of herself. She is disconnected from her body and wonders if she is even real. Nothing feels real, and even if she tries, she cannot engage with her present-day life. Dissociation is often explained as a floating head without a body. This gown is intentionally displayed on a dress form as opposed to a mannequin. Made of metal, wood, and cloth, the form feels distant and unrealistic. In addition, the gown is shown in grayscale, lacking color to represent the lifeless feeling of being numb. The mother that never was. She loved her dearly and of course called her mama, but she knew from a young age that her mother would never be her home base or safety net. She would not be the person to go to when the world became too much, or the one who would catch her no matter what. Her mother was depressed and coped by disengaging, checking out to survive. The girl looked at her mother and knew she was abandoned. Wanting her mother filled her with a loneliness so profound, the word itself had no meaning. As opposed to the previous look, this look has depicted the mother figure in grayscale, while the girl is shown as a young child in full color. It is clear that the mother is disengaged, while the child wears the pink version of the previous look and holds out hope that her mother will be who she desperately needs. Anything dead coming back to life hurts. She chose life, not because it was easier, but because amongst all the turmoil, she never stopped wondering what her life could be. As an adult, she went to Paris and fell in love with the forlorn willow trees lining the Seine. She chose healing and surrendered herself to the process of growth after destruction. She stumbled and fell back all the time. Through it all, she remembered the willow trees that can bend in the most outrageous poses and grow without snapping. The sheer and nude undertones of the skirt and corset offer a sense of vulnerability to the process of growth and healing. Meanwhile, the layers of embroidered and beaded leaves with vines of ribbon add life and movement to the gown as growth can be seen. Who are you if your story begins to change? Do not be so loyal to your suffering that your healing doesn't stand a chance. Run wild, run free. She is me, and as I have moved through all these phases and achieved moments of fulfillment and success, I am still the young girl who found a way to grow up in a world of abuse and abandonment. Sometimes I live in a place of light, where I see myself content and uninhibited. Sometimes I find myself in a much darker place. Healing is not linear, and life is very much a work in progress. I can now say that sadness and pain can coexist with happiness and fulfillment, and that's okay. With flowers and vines climbing from the hemline and navigating their way across the entire gown, this look is a culmination of the tremendous effort it takes to heal and grow. The flowers offer themselves as a playful invitation to embrace whimsy and reconnect with the pleasure and curiosity that come along with each new day. The white color of the gown references the innocence of the first gown as a reminder of both past and future journeys. Sometimes when you're in a dark place, you think you've been buried, but maybe you've been planted. Allow yourself to bloom.